Thank you for your patience. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. That was a great energy session. I love doing crystal energy work. It was so lovely. It was very moving. It helps me with like the Mars energy. And I'm going to answer someone's question. Let's see. I hope you're here. Let me see. Did you find me? I'll just ask, did you find me? Did you find it? Okay. Oh, yes, you did. There you are. Perfect. Okay, now I can silence my phone. Hey, oh, cool. I'm happy you found the link. That's really cool. Hi, Mai. I love you so much. Thank you for coming and participating yesterday. I hope that you had a good time. I understand that there was something that I want to talk to you later about, but we won't unpack that here. Okay. But I am in awareness. All right. And I do love you, and it's already been handled. We did a debriefing last night. This is what we normally do after one of our events. Okay. Anytime there is people in the building and the four of us or five of us, however many of us are facilitating, right? We all sit down and we go over the event and we do it energetically. We go over it energetically and we pull it apart. We take it piece by piece. We even check into each of the vendors. We look for hooks. We look for lots of different things that people happen to leave behind because the place feels so good that they want to return. What a lot of people don't understand is that you're free to return as long as you're in alignment with unconditionality and authenticity. And when you're not, you will not be returning, and the future of your business will be at stake if you have cost us anything in the way of hurting community, right? Because community is everything to Body Studios, everything. And we will not tolerate mishandling, misconditioning, misuse of that access, not in any way, shape, or form. And so we sit very lovingly and we unpack things and we do whatever energy or ritual or ceremony we have to in order for everyone to be safe and protected from the energies that they're exposed to from all the varieties that we experience. It isn't because we think we're better than that. It's because we know the entrainment that we have for our community. We know what we've provided for them energetically. We know that we are helping them become the authority in their life and that they get a safe, loving, comfortable space to explore their beliefs in. And we're very adamant about that, extremely adamant. So we always sit down. So even if it ends at like 12, we sit down, we take however many hours that takes. Last night, 2.5, 3 hours, which is fine, but we're unpacking like a lot. Everybody has so many thoughts, right? And everybody has so many intentions, and everybody has so many connections. And what we do is we look to see like who brought lack in their pocket, right? Who brought lack? And that style of individual needs the healing the most, right? And when we do the debriefing, a lot of times the peoples who would be considered the perpetrators, all right, as well as the victims, okay, if you want to put it that way, all get healed. They all get the healing that they needed because we can see it in the ethers. We could see like this alignment is going to bring you what you're asking for. And usually when people come from a place of lack, it's difficult to step out of that fear. So we do a lot of fear-based clearing. We do a lot of alignment to what the best part of your intention is and get rid of the rest. Ooh, look how clear that got. And that's what we do. We do that for benefit to you because you can't leave a mess, right? And to our beautiful community that deserves that loving kindness. Last night's event was freaking phenomenal. It was so awesome to have so many lovely participants and community come and show up, and the vendors were exquisite. There was like maybe one set that was like not in alignment. Other than that, everything was just so beautiful. And the vendors that participated, everybody was just so loving. And that was the feedback that I received during the event, was just the energy is so nice. It's so lovely to be here. And I appreciate that because we worked really hard on making it comfortable, right? And letting ease come in, right? And when we look at it and we're building community, right? Trying to do money grabs and different things like that. If you're used to doing that at a different show or in different arenas, and that's like your foundation, it's not going to work. It just won't work. So we just align all the energy that's provided. So that way, if you wanted a shift, you get your shift, whether they're facilitating it or not. You get exactly what you paid for. So that way it's in alignment and everything works. All right. So you may notice that you feel way better today, whoever it is. All right. And you will, because we made sure of that, because we're looking for the love vibration in the intention. And when we can find that, we can go ahead and decide the outcome, because that's where we're aligned. So that's what we did. And then we went ahead and cut ties, because you could do that too. It's a matter of pulling your energy out of the field of your experience, right? It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong or right. It means that you're having an experience. And sometimes people have very lackful thinking. In those lackful thoughts, it's like, oh, I can get this like this, right? And those are practices. And sometimes we need those practices in our lives to show us that we're still the authority. So there's nothing wrong that happens. There's merely resonance, dissonance, and alignment. So when we decide that we're going to go into alignment, what does that feel like? We notice when it doesn't feel right. And then when we go into alignment, we hit that surrender and we let go of it, right? So even if somebody is saying something to you, let's say you go to any fair, it doesn't matter. Ours was really awesome. Okay. So I'm using this as an example. Okay. Ours was really awesome. Let's say you go to somebody, but you have kind of a feeling, but they kind of called you over. Okay. You don't know exactly what's happening, but there's a lot of markets coming up, and I really want to talk to you guys about that. Okay. We're going to have another one on November 23rd for Small Business Saturday. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to make it a really nice niche market because of the holidays coming up. So we're going to look at it in that fashion. We're really looking at how community wants to participate. All right. So if you go, anyway, so that's my little pitch for that. So if you go to any fair, you should feel safe. You should feel safe, and it should be okay for you to explore comfortably whatever is being offered at that establishment. If for any reason your body feels like it's recoiling, right? It's like, ugh, okay, that's your indicator. That's your indicator that you need to check in and find some things out. You need to look to see, is it the event? Look at the big thing first. Is it the event? Is the event what I'm feeling? And that would let you know about the organizers. That would let you know about the hosts, the people, the places, right, that are in charge. So check into that first and see how you feel, right, before you attend. See how you feel, right? And then check into the vendors, right? Is that recoiling feeling I'm having because of a vendor, a specific vendor, right? And if it is, do you have to investigate? No. Can you decide? Yeah, because now you have more information. All right. Really trust yourself. That's what we really want to celebrate here, is that we are the authority. People, individual authority, right? You can sit with somebody and they can give you a lot of information. And in that information, you're still going to make a decision. You're not going to make a decision based on what they tell you is good. They're going to give you a suggestion. They're going to give you advice to the best of their ability, according to how spirit comes through and how they read the energy and connect with you, what's available in your field. And then as your paradigm shifts, can they keep up with the timelines collapsing right in front of them? Okay. And it's because we're in the land of possibility 100% of the time. So it's all choice. So when you say, ooh, am I going to find the love of my life? Yeah. And like we could reach in and we could go into that possibility, right? And when we hit that possibility and you're in that alignment, it moves that much closer to probability because it's energetic. That's how it all starts. So when you sit with someone, they're giving you information. They're giving you beautiful information that they have access to, same as you, in a different perception. And in that additional perception, you will go ahead and have more information to look at so that when you make your decision to have an experience, it's well-rounded. Okay. So that's how reading works. Any kind of reading. You may have language that's used with you that makes you feel like there is only, always, never. Okay. That's very limiting language. Should, this is the right way. Discard all that bullshit when you're in a reading, because that's bullshit. All right. I hope we're getting clear on this. I love participation, and there's a couple of magic markets that are coming up that I'm going to be doing with Val, and we're going to be in LA and we'll be in OC, and I would love for you to visit. I would love for you to visit these markets. I also want you to be safe when you visit these markets. So we need to be a little savvy about this. Check in. You're your best authority. And it will tell you, if something's like, if somebody's like really hardcore selling you something, okay, and you're kind of leaning into it, why? Why? Just ask yourself why. Because we're pulling in ideation in that moment that's shared with them, and this is their desire and their rabbit hole that we're being invited into. Okay. And we can decide whether or not it is for us. That's why I love to teach people how to rock, sway. I love that. When I learned that, gosh, when I learned that, that was like really cool, really, really cool. And so I usually teach people like that you're your pendulum. Okay. And you just center your body. You center your body like you have a string running from the heavens into the core of the earth, and it runs right through you, and it allows you to sway in any direction. You get very comfortable into your energetic and physical person, right? And relax. So you relax your shoulders away from your ears. And then you say out loud, body, show me yes. And then your body is going to sway in a certain direction. Mine's going backwards for yes today. Okay. And then you say, body, show me no. And mine's going forward for no today. And a lot of times it's opposite. So it's not always the same. Sometimes hydration needs to take place because you're a better conduit with water. More electrical fields get touched. Okay. So when you can learn what your sway test is, all right, you can begin to harness that beautiful energy of you and ask questions about everything. You are the authority. And mostly what we're asking when we ask a question is, am I down for this? Am I down for this? And you know what? Even if it looks like a shit show and you get a yes, you'll step into that bitch. Okay? Because, hey, we're down for the experience. So what do you do when you step into it and it looks like molasses? Oh, damn. And maybe you did the rock. You're like, how'd I end up here? Mostly, we end up there because we're asking for something further along the line. And whatever is further along the line, this is the limitation that we set in front of it that we need to work through. So we'll work through that molasses until we feel pretty good, shower off the day sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden, this shines brighter and it feels closer. And it's because we did that work of limitation that we're holding on to. We're not doing anything right or wrong. We decide that. These are just the mechanics of how we set ourselves up energetically. Mostly we are deciders. This is just a big word for me. We're deciders. And if we're going to go and play in metaphysical fields, we need to really understand that our energy is shared. So when we meet somebody who's less than who we would like for them to be according to who we think we fucking are, right? You see how that works? Okay. All those judgments, okay, will affect us and the way that we communicate and come together. And that will be our connection with those individuals. So if you're not called, right, if you don't feel like a pull towards something, all right, then they're not saying, ooh, come here, blah, 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 blah. Okay. You're probably not being called, but they're inviting you into their energetic experience. And when you go to fairs, that's what you're feeling a lot of. You're feeling whether or not the vendors have sold a lot, whether or not it's been busy, has it been fun, is there a lot of spirit? So people experience anxiety a lot at a fair, but that's because we invite spirit in for readings. So it's present. It's very present. So relaxing into the energy of it, right? Learning that that's who you are. You're just an individual signature in a soul form, right? So giving yourself the benefit of doubt, knowing that what you feel is real, what you think is real, and you're the one creating it. So when you go into different places where you're exploring your spirituality and you're saying, I wonder what this will do. Oh, I would really like that. Maybe I'll buy a journal over here. Maybe I'll go ahead and I'll sit with this individual because I like that energy feel. Okay. And if you're not sure, walk away. Walk the fuck away. Walk away for now. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. It'll align itself. It will align itself if you need it to be there, if it's meant to be there, if you create it to be there. All right. Resistance is something that doesn't belong to us. That's what we're learning. Resistance comes when there's a different vibrational offering that isn't a match of resonance for your current alignment. It doesn't mean it's good or bad. You're just deciding whether or not you want to move from this vibration into this vibration. And you can feel the difference. And so you're checking it out. You send a little bit of your energy and you go, I wonder what that is. Oh, well, there's that. I don't know. Let me see. And if we're raised polite, oh God, we're raised polite. We're raised and conditioned to go ahead and just do whatever is suggested to us. And that's a bunch of silliness as well. So when you go to fairs, when you go to psychic fairs, when you go to large influencing areas, like a concert would do it as well. Everything will do it. All right. It's just the interaction. It's our energy that we're willing to share in the space. And then when you come back, you have all this information, energy information with you, because, you know, we see pictures online. Okay. And we have a scope of like this in our mind. And we think that that is like the picture. But when we're taking the picture, we're in the experience. And it's merely a snapshot of whatever that focus is. That focus is where we're directing our energy pull to experience from, and our energy push to be in reciprocation. Okay. And that's what it is. So you can look at one vendor and have a resistant feeling and know that you're not in alignment with that vendor at this time. You can look right next door to them and have a different feeling to where it feels very aligned, and you'll want to go check out their booth and see what they're offering because you're curious and you want to know why. You might go to the other one. Okay, so let's say there's two booths. I just got an idea. It just came in. It's really pretty. Okay, so let's say you are at the fair, and let's say you do get those two different reads, and you still go toward contrast. You still go toward dissonance. Is that right or wrong? It's whatever you would like for it to be. You're choosing that experience. You're merely choosing that experience. Does that mean that you're a vibrational match for that experience? Fuck yeah. Okay? Because we're capable of feeling all and knowing all vibrations. We're capable of that. So we become a match because of the curiosity. So we will shift our vibration to match that dissonance. We'll remember after a minute why we didn't want to be in that dissonance. We'll remember because we're sorting and sifting through this new information that we're experiencing. And then we're going to be like, I don't know if this really resonates with me, but I'm glad I checked it out. How do I extricate myself from that, right? Okay, so mostly you become it. You become it. You become that understanding. You become that understanding because it's you. It's you. It's your perception. And we're not resisting the individual or the experience. We're resisting more information to process. And as we have more information to process, it makes it feel overwhelming. And that's because we haven't let go of our focus in other areas. So we're trying to do and be too much. So slow down, and that'll help. When you're in the psychic fairs, you can create an intention, okay? You can pick up a rock, any rock, one that you don't mind carrying with you for the day. It could be in your garden, it could be anywhere. I want you to sit still with that rock, okay? It could be a special crystal if you would really like for it to, but all I really want to do is teach you intention, all right? So let's say you're going to go to one of these psychic fairs, and you're really curious because you've never been to this kind of a psychic fair, and you have like a little trepidation. There's this, what about this? What about that? I'm excited. This is kind of cool. I'm going to go anyway. I think this will be okay, but that's trepidation. So let's say there's a little bit of that. What I'd like for you to do is to grab a rock. A rock is sensible because it's usually, all right, not going to get all broken up and everything. And it is an indicator, okay? But it's also the earth. It's the earth. So you're picking up a piece of the earth that's in resonance with your everything in your physical and your mental, because this is where we manifest from, okay? Just pick the rock up, think to yourself, I've really been going through it recently. And so I want to let go of all my worries and all my concerns. And I want to start fresh. And Mother Earth, who's holding me as I hold her, right, is going to let me just step out of that. And you just take a step forward, and then you let all that energy fall down. And now you're in this beautiful, pure sort of state, okay? Now it's a good time to set the intention for the rock, the beautiful piece of earth that you have in your hand. And then you open your hand and you tell this beautiful piece of earth, you say, I appreciate you. I appreciate how sacred you are. And I want to align with that sacredness. And so tomorrow or the next day or this weekend, when I go to this particular experience, I would like for you to, and then set your intentions. I would like for you to clear me from every space that I attend. I would like for you to continuously remove psychic debris from me. And I would like for it to transmute into little white butterflies of unconditional love. You could set your intentions in any way that you would like, but that's what I would like for you to do before you go to one of these events, because your intention is what keeps you safe. It's what allows you to stay in your alignment, because you have an idea of who you are and who you want to be in that moment. Then you take that into your exploration and you become even more. It's not you ever become less. You're always more, and you're always in this beautiful understanding of you. All right. So when you see some adversity, when you see some things that are going on around you and you feel powerless, you're meant to feel powerless because you haven't put your energy into it. And that's great. Recognize that. Recognize that you're getting an indication that you haven't started any effort into whatever that experience is. That gives you a fresh start. You're in a reset. Nobody can touch you there. Woo! Concept. All right. When you're there, whew, see, there you go. Now everybody's pulling their energy back from all these places we visited. And that's great because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to go out and have an exploration and then come back and say, I wonder what that means. And then somebody said this, and then that happened. And then there's this, like going to a concert. By the way, we have a concert this weekend. All right. And it's going to be Saturday night, $55 a ticket, 2 for $99. We're encouraging that you dress in like the 70s, 60s, 90s, 80s, 2000s as some kind of musical representation. Okay. I'm excited. I'm going to be Queen's biggest fan. It's going to be a joy. You get one reading, you come in, you have a little bit of snacks because like that's how it works. And then we're going to have a big concert. And that's going to be with Dave Alcantar and his band. So I'm excited. I'm just blown away that we have a guy who's referred to as the journey guy. Okay. And he's just well known for that. And he's going to come and do like, so many beautiful songs. And he likes to read the audience and take requests. So we'll see how that works. See, it's going to be a great day. Anyway, so let's say you go into any experience. Let's say you go to SoFi Stadium and you're in an experience with music. We went there and we saw Stevie Nicks and we saw Billy Joel. And it was a time, okay, because we haven't been to a large stadium. We went like, I think it was 5 or 6 deep. We went 6 people, okay, and we couldn't find a car that was one of us, right? And we managed to find the car, and there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened, but mostly that energy, right, was there and it was present. And you get lost and looped into those energies because they're familiar. They're familiar patterns. So they're easy to transfer to. It isn't because we're doing something wrong. It's like, oh yeah, that looks like a good idea. And you go off this way. Oh man, I didn't know it was a dead end. Super easy. Just like, oh, okay, well, this is how this experience is right now. And I can make another choice and have a different experience. When you come from those experiences, before you go to sleep, all right, before you go to sleep, you should sit and unpack it and just say thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. And it releases the day. It releases the experience of the energy that you're holding on to. It'll allow you to sleep. It will allow you to be who you are in the experience rather than trying to figure out what somebody or who somebody wanted you to be in the experience. And it helps you solidify you being the authority in your own experience. Because first you have to tell yourself what your experience was. Then you can go ahead and conceive it with others. All right. So you have like 2 or 3 minutes alone time doing that. And that works out really well. It's really just a recentering and recalibrating of who you naturally are. And you're learning these things. We're all learning these things. This is language that wasn't around 20 to 40 years ago when metaphysics had a big bump and everybody was in it. It was more like people got channeled and downloaded all this information and they could only articulate what they got because it wasn't a constant channel. It was like oh, that's how it works. And they worked with it. But it's ongoing, it's evolutionary, it's expansive, and that's how channels work. You're a channel, you're a natural channel. You get ideation all the time from our shared field, all the time. Have you ever solved a problem you didn't think you could? There you go. There's your answer right there. Okay. So we're always there. That's when I'll use always. We're always in that field. We're never disconnected. Okay. It's the energy of who we are. And we're shared thought. because thoughts are in that energy field. We're shared emotion because emotion is in that field. That expression of emotion is in that field. Okay. We might pick up somebody else's stress because we're thinking about something that would give other people stress, or we've heard gives other people stress, or we have a pattern of stress related to that thought. And then we'll just keep pulling more stress in, and we'll look for more reasons to have that stress, and we'll solidify it, and we'll lay down that energetic field of foundation, and then we'll live that. We'll keep walking on it back and forth. It'll be like our sidewalk, and we'll just keep, it's like how we get from point A to B, and we're talking. That's our loop. And so we're on that sidewalk. And so however you want to build that sidewalk, that's the experience you're going to live. Okay. All right. So as far as like the fairs go, I would encourage people to go to the fairs, but I would encourage setting an intention first and then clearing after, because you're important. That's why, because you're important. And I'm really happy that we had 99% love, right? And it kicked everything else's ass. And so that's like, really important to me. Anyway, so today was about self and understanding, right? And how you can be the authority in your life. Even if you hear somebody say that it's this way, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. It means that's their opinion, their idea of how it works and would work for them, right? In a variety of ways. So you're not as subjective as some people can make you feel with limited language. What we found was that I've been to another psychic fair, all right? And I don't attend that one any longer, but I really love the facilitator, and I liked the PR person an awful lot, all right? And they seemed genuine, and that was really nice. And so I really liked. So I went and I participated. Dawn and I had gone, Manuel had gone with us. And so we were in this psychic fair, and it was a very interesting experience for me because it wasn't around a lot of practitioners in the same energy fields that I'm in. All right. And I love to check out other people's energy fields because I'm curious and I like expansion and I like to see what's going on, what's over here, what about that, what about that. Okay. So I went ahead and I was at the table, and energetically I went and stood at every table because you could do that. Why not? So I went and I stood at every table and I got my reads, and then I came back to myself and I blessed everybody that I stood by, because that is, I want everybody to do well. So I think that during this particular psychic fair, there was a person who was doing palmistry, and they were creating inappropriate connections. And so they were asked to leave after a while. And then there was like a war between two sectors of practice going on, because there's apparently for this particular practice, there's territories. And there was an overstepping of bounds in these territories. And I thought to myself, I went, that's a very limiting, you're going to naturally feel that you don't have enough. All right. Especially if somebody comes into your territory, right? If you become territorial, you're in lack. It means that this is all you think you could have. And if it's not working for you, that's a bunch of bullshit in your head, huh? Okay. So anyway, what goes down at that fair is very interesting. You see people coming to get a reading from some of the people in one camp, and you watch to see somebody in another camp. You watch all this action going on, okay? And as I'm observing, and I went and I talked to some people, but not the people, because my indicator was you do not need to engage. That was my indicator. And it wasn't, I have to stay away. It wasn't anything like anything other than that. It was, you do not have to engage. And I said, okay. And I started to get busy. As soon as I let go of that focus of what I should do in that circumstance, because I saw what was going on, and I'm not the queen bee. I do not have to auto accommodate. I don't have to take care of stuff. That allows me to stay in my own lane and just clear psychic debris. Super easy. So as I'm watching, there was a young lady who got up from one experience. And when she got up from that experience, she looked woozy. Okay. I wasn't really sure what had taken place, but as I looked at the energy. And when I looked at the energy, something had been placed to make her feel that way so that it would validate what she was told she needed as far as to spend to receive. All right. And when I looked, I was like, wow, but that wasn't there before that. That wasn't there before that. And I thought, oh, so this individual was super open. They sat with you and they were really vulnerable and they told you that they had a problem. And in that problem, you had a fix, but you were holding that fix so tightly in an amount of money that it shook this individual. And this individual is in a quandary of, I wonder if I'm going to be okay. And they go down the rabbit hole into that. If they've had any kind of health scares, anything in their family, any kind of story, they're going to pull all that shit forward in that moment. The practitioner who has only set the intention is just created the magnet. They've unlocked the magnet. Now all this stuff starts coming in. Okay? All of it, all the bullshit that you already know that's familiar because you live with it, because you are it. We're all that bullshit too. Okay? So you're pulling all of that in, and you're wondering, wow, this is so accurate. But you're the one who's looking for the fucking evidence. Okay? All right? So this individual is doing this, and I'm watching this, and I'm thinking, I don't know how to circumvent that so it could be beneficial for both parties, because one person wants to be the authority and not receive instruction from the universe. So when somebody is in that mindset, it's not pointless for me to introduce another vibration or make a shift so that it works out better, but it's not my responsibility. Ethically, I do not have to make sure that everybody around me is okay. It's my preference. That's my preference. Everybody around me who interacts with me, so that we can create ease and harmony, we just shift. We shift a lot. We shift daily. We shift through the day. It doesn't matter. We're willing to do that. So everybody around me is like that. So when I'm observing all of this and I notice that this individual stands and they're woozy, they go and they get like, it looked like over here was like the mineral place. So they went over there to get a specific rock that they were told about. When they bought the rock from the individual who was not tied to that person that gave them the reading, right? All of a sudden they felt better. So now they have their evidence that this individual is good because their outcome was okay. But what they didn't know was that it was placed and experienced all in that moment, right? How can you manage? How can you manage when you run across shit like that, right? First, you have to know where you're at. You have to know how you feel. You have to know how you're feeling about certain circumstances, what triggers are coming up, and you got to be real clear. You have to be real clear. Usually, if somebody comes for a reading, they come from their heart. And the reason that they come from their heart is because they have a knowing already, and they're in alignment with what their choices are going to be. And those choices can be laid out in front of them in a reading, and then they can talk about it, storyboard it, bring it into being. Okay? Really looking at how you feel before you enter that communion, because it is like a communion. All right? See who you are and what it is that you would like. Okay? And then check in with your connection and ask if this person can help you facilitate that. If you get a no, just go right on, moving on the road. Okay? I think that everybody is very powerful. I think that we experience places of powerlessness, and that is an indicator to show us that we're not in charge, that we don't have to do anything. I think that when we feel powerless in certain circumstances, it's time for us to sit still and let the dust settle from the war we've been in, the war with ourselves. I think that when we recognize powerlessness, we can empower ourselves by that knowing. When we can understand that when we're powerless, we are putting ourselves back into choice, because we're and recognizing the situation as it is in that moment for us in a very concise perception. And then when we're willing, we can introduce another perception, right? We can do the duality of us. You say, well, this is the experience right now, and this is how it could be as well. And then we can look for both items in both places because it all exists. That's the magic of you. That's the true magic of you, is understanding that you can do anything. You can be anything. And there's workarounds for everything. All right. I just love you guys. I'm happy that we had the market yesterday. The market really did turn out well. I love a lot of the vendors because I know them. I met some beautiful people that touched my heart in such ways. It was amazing. It was really good. And we had a lot of feedback for how wonderful it was. And I look forward to having the next one. I look forward to having all of the experiential interactive events that we're coming up with, because they're a lot of fun. I look forward to joining community. I want to continue to guarantee it as a safe, honorable, ethical, loving space. And it is. So many blessings. I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and peace. Peace.